Let's see, Tom?
Well, I guess I've already made one point of how the idea has come forward to us, and I object that we're not, giving the process that currently exists a chance to vet out an idea. That would have been my preference. Obviously, my preference was not the prevailing decision in getting it to this point so far. I think ultimately it does make sense to have a citizen commission. I just wanted to make sure that the idea first went to the Arts Commission and the Farmers Market Advisory Board. I think the proposed makeup of the commission should have more vendor influence than it currently does. I'm not sold on the extension agent representation person. I think that might be an okay ex officio position. I don't think it's as important as a voting member. I also have a concern about the timing of it. I think some of the Farmers Market Advisory Board recommendations for policies for the 2013 season should come to this body more quickly and are more important for us to hear sooner than this particular issue, because I don't think this commission should be empowered to try to take on some of the farmers market management issues immediately. I think that the current Farmers Market Advisory Board, in concert with city staff, have more of a familiarity with the existing issues. And so I think that there's going to be kind of a weaning issue here, and I think that the policy issues that the advisory board has recommended to us are more important for us to digest and to get out to vendors. So I think that it's a cart before the horse kind of a thing. I think it would be more important for us to address the radius issue, the 150 versus 100. I think it's important for us to deal with the no resale issues. Those are things I think would have been more important for us to get to faster. And I'm sorry that we didn't do that in the last couple advisory board commission meetings. There was a lot of discussion about those policy issues, no discussion about this issue. And city staff and advisory board members all knew that those were the things that needed to get out to vendors ASAP, not the makeup of this commission. So I feel like we're, slowing things down rather than getting to things in a timely fashion for this particular season. So that's frustrating to me as well. I do think that it makes sense for us to get this commission in place, but I don't see it as a hurry up, let's get it done for this particular season. I think it's fine for it to get started at some point, but it wouldn't be my preference in terms of timing.
I think there's an element of learn as we go in this whole process, too. This would be a brand-new commission. We may not get it right the first time, and I would hope that input from the likes of the Market Advisory Board and Moscow Arts Commission and city staff and deliberation among council members could help make it better as it goes on.
Well, and Walter brought up a question also about how the current members of the advisory board were selected, and last year we nearly lost everybody. I mean, a lot of people, with all of the shucking and jiving that we were doing with, moving the farmers market back and forth and up and down and dogs or no dogs and all these kinds of things, a lot of people just got frustrated and quit. And out of the ashes, a bunch of other people came forward and volunteered from the vendors and from, so I think that we got lucky and got really great people to come in and assume responsibility. I would hate to think that we're just going to push that rebirthed Farmers Market Advisory Board aside in order to set this commission up. And so there are a bunch of concerns that I have about the timing, the placement. I'm not opposed to a commission being formed. I just feel like I would have preferred a more deliberate following of our process that we've been trying to work with the advisory board on and work with the Arts Commission on. I feel like we're short-circuiting that. Those are my concerns. I mean, it's a respect and working with the people kind of issue that I feel like we're circumventing. That's my concern. Those are my concerns.
Wayne?
Well, Tom, let me just comment. I think your fears are really unfounded. I really do. This commission is not something that's going to materialize next month and suddenly start making rules and regulations. You know as well as I do. You've been doing this as long as I have, and you know that isn't how it's going to happen. This is going to be a good transition. It's going to be more efficient than what we have now. We have a huge inefficient situation going on. And let me say, I do appreciate your taking the time to go back to Washington, D.C. and meet with our national legislators and taking the time to meet with NLC. But in the last 2 weeks, I have almost been nothing but read and talked and dreamt and breathed this situation. I mean, there has been a huge amount of communication over the last 2 weeks. And
I've been doing it for the last 2 years. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
So that's why I think that, this is going to be, I think the Farmers Market Advisory Board would be crazy to disband themselves, to just get upset and say, well, you know what, they're not going to listen to us, and so we're just going to go away. That would be really, really a dysfunctional thing for the Farmers Market Advisory Board to do. They need to stay cohesive. They need to stay in communication with this new commission when, in fact, it does come into existence. And I think that was a good idea that was brought up, that the Farmers Market Advisory Board vote within themselves on 3 of the positions that could be on that commission. I think that would be advisory too. So, and anyway, Tom, I think you're worried for nothing. I think this is a good thing. It's going to streamline it. It's going to make it much more efficient. The rules aren't going to change. The farmers market's going to move forward. We're going to be on Main Street this year. Kathleen's going to do a good job. The sky's not falling.
Other discussion before voting? Okay, the motion is to approve the ordinance under suspension of the rules requiring 3 complete and separate readings, that the ordinance be read by title and published by summary, and with the modification of removing the word advisory in the title and elsewhere in the body, in the descriptor. Okay? Everybody know what they're voting on? Okay, we'll start with you, Tim.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
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 Okay, the motion carries. It's ordinance number 2013-3, an ordinance of the City of Moscow, Municipal Corporation of the State of Idaho, providing for the amendment of Moscow City Code Title 3 by the addition of language in Chapter 5 to create a Farmers Market Commission and to establish its purposes, duties, organization, and functions, providing that the provisions of this ordinance be deemed severable, and providing for this ordinance to be in full force and effect from the date of its passage, approval, and publication according to law. And now let's go on to the next piece of this, which pertains to the 2012 City Council adopted farmers market policies and whether or not those ought to pertain to 2013. We heard some references that Gary described relating to a 150-mile radius, the prospect of zero resale, to clarify about the condition about shared booths, and minor language changes to the policies that were otherwise recommended. Dan?
Tom's talked about this several times, that, last year we made a lot of changes, and I think that we should stick with the policies that we adopted in 12 and get the new committee to look at these proposed recommendations, as they come in, and then they can bring them to us one at a time. But I don't think that it's something that we need to be adopting this year. I mean, let's take a break. Let's have the breather that I thought we promised everybody last year after we got everything moved. So I think that's what we should do is stay with the 12 policy recommendations, and then we have another year to work through all these other recommendations that are more than likely going to be coming forward.
Wayne?
Well, I have an opinion.
No way.
No. We're shocked.
I kind of thought, I was thinking along the same lines as you were until, the last 10 days and reading all the different emails and the consensus that I've been getting. And then thinking about, what this new commission is going to be tasked with, besides just getting their feet on the ground and getting used to things. And I think that there is 2 recommendations that I think we should institute. And I don't think it's going to be onerous for the commission to have to deal with this, because these 2 things have been very highly recommended by just about everybody that has spoken with me personally or by email. And so I think we should go ahead and institute the 150-mile radius and also the no resale.
If that's a motion, I'd second that.
That's not a motion, that's just discussion right now.
Okay, Tom, would you like to make that motion?
No, I think I'm fair with I'm fine with the discussion.
Discussions,
You know,
yeah.
people are still.
Well, since most of the people that I've heard from have been vendors of one type or another, or people on the Arts Commission, I have not heard from the general customer public, which is why I wanted these issues to go before the commission and be vetted by them. Because if it was my personal opinion, I would not go with prohibition of resale, because I think co-oping is a wonderful idea, and I think I've mentioned that if somebody's got 4 flats of strawberries in Orofino and his neighbor's got 5 flats of green beans, both of them should not have to drive to Moscow to stand at a separate table to sell their small amounts of food, of produce. And so I would like to see this go through a commission that had other people besides vendors on it to see what they think, because like I said, that's my opinion, so I'm not in favor of that.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
I think also leaving it through this year to, look at it, show us the examples of this resale that's going on. We hear about it, but, I can go down there and I don't know who's doing it or not if I'm buying apples from this guy or cherries from this other guy. I don't know if he's selling somebody else's, but I'm not that savvy, I guess, and, I'm getting apples. I'm basically just getting apples, so.
You think apples are just apples, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. They're not oranges. But yeah, I think that this is something that the commission, the new commission should be looking at, getting those examples of what's happening. Is it something like Sue's saying that, here's the 2 little guys that both of them don't want to spend all their gas money getting here, or is it one guy that's going around to all his buddies saying, I'll sell all your stuff, and I don't have to do any work, but I'll just take everybody else's stuff in. That I see as being the less savory of the 2 happenings, the 2 resale examples. Yeah, exactly. So I'd like to know what's happening before we say it can't happen.
Okay, so I apologize to all those people I didn't invite to come comment, but have we missed something
Yeah.
really big out there? Oh, yikes. We have. We do have a live motion here, so.
No, we
Oh,
don't.
nobody's made a motion.
Nobody's made a
we don't have
motion.
We haven't had one?
I'd
Oh,
like
guess
to
what? I
ask
will ask
Kathleen
them
a
then.
question.
Okay. That's right, it wasn't a motion.
Kathleen,
Thank you,
can you come
good.
to or Gary can, one or the other, whoever can talk. When the farmer's market first started, was it all local vendors? Was it resale? What was it when it started here in the parking lot?
Well, I couldn't attest to that. A person that is here for being in the market the longest would be Mr. Coachman, and he might remember. I do know that when it was in the parking lot,
That's what I'm asking, because that's when we
yep, the Durfees were invited from Yakima, and there were several other vendors that were invited by Linda Paul and the Moscow Arts Commission. Wilson Banner Ranch was the anchor tenant farmer in this parking lot, and I think you remember a year ago you heard from Joe Wilson on his support for a bigger space for the market and for truck parking. Joe's not here today, so I can't speak for the Wilsons.
I guess what my question was it originally just local farmers, or were people doing resale from the beginning?
I'm pretty sure from the beginning they've been doing resale.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.